Ottawa City Commission meeting for this St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2021. I'm glad so many of you are wearing green today and claim to be Irish today. Some of us on here are Irish. Some of us just claim it on the 17th, and that's okay. We will begin our meeting with a disclosure, which we read every single meeting, including on St. Patrick's Day, read by our city clerk, Melissa Reed.
This is Melissa Reed, City Clerk, and I will be providing information for remote access as well as procedural guidelines that will be followed for this meeting. Due to the efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, physical access to the City Commission meeting will be restricted. In accordance with the Kansas Open Meetings Act, COMA, the meeting can be viewed live on Channel 23 and via Facebook Live or listened to by dialing 1-312-626-6799 and entering meeting ID 958-8516-8215 #. Guidelines for this meeting are as follows. Each member of the public, staff, or presenter is required to state the individual's name and title, if any, each time the individual begins speaking or voting so that the individual can be identified by remote listeners or observers. Citizens that submitted comments by 8 a.m. today to public comments at ottawakansas.gov were given to the City Commission to be read during public comment or during discussion on an agenda item. The Commission must describe at the beginning of the meeting the process that will be used for a closed or executive meeting pursuant to KSA 75-4319 and amendments thereto.
Thank you, Clerk Reed. We appreciate it. Would you begin with the roll call?
Mayor Kaler?
Present.
Commissioner Crowley?
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Present.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Present.
And Commissioner Weigand?
Present.
Well, we welcome you all for participating today in the Ottawa City Commission meeting. Thank you so much for being part of the process. We begin every meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation, which today will be read by Pastor Calloway with the First Baptist Church. So if you would all rise and put your hand over your heart and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Calloway.
May be muted.
Let us pray. Almighty God, into your presence we come today for our city commissioners meeting. Thank you for the night of rest you granted us. Please bless our commissioners and their families, for we know every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. We ask you to give them wisdom from above. That is, the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Peacemakers who soar in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. Almighty, please bless this meeting today, that everything will be accomplished according to your will. We also seek the peace and prosperity of the city in which we live. We pray to you, Lord, for it, because if it is to prosper, it is because of you. Be with all of us during this COVID-19 time. Protect all of our citizens and watch over us. I pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor Calloway. We appreciate it. We hope you join us again.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime. That moves us on to the consent agenda, which includes minutes from March 1st, March 3rd, and March 8th. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Commissioner Crowley will make that motion.
Commissioner Crowley moves that we approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Commissioner Weigand will second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. That moves us on to public comment. At this time, we invite the public, our citizens who we work for, to come and visit with us in our public meeting and to let us know what is on their mind as a citizen. We ask public comment to be right now, since we're meeting remotely, to be actually called in and asked to be put on the agenda. And I'm going to yield to City Clerk Reed to see if there's anybody who has signed up for public comment today.
We have none registered today.
Okay, well, we will dispense from reading that. Our next item is declaration. At this time, I'd like to give commissioners an opportunity to declare any conflict that they may have had that might influence their issues for today, and declare them impartial. Commissioners, do you have any declaration to take at this time?
Mayor Kaler,
Yes.
I am a paid contractor on one of the houses on item 12. So I will abstain from voting on that, even though my compensation will not be changed, whether it's approved or not.
Thank you, Commissioner Crowley. Is there others? All right, good. I think it's important just to kind of reflect on that for just a minute. And I appreciate the fact that Commissioner Crowley is willing to make the statement that he does, because we want to make sure that everyone knows that if we do have business with the city that does conflict, that we let everybody know. We are completely transparent about that. And so thank you, Commissioner Crowley, for letting everyone know about that, and for those that have done that in the past. That moves us on to new business. The item 10 is on the agenda. We're already to item 10. Look at us.
Ordinance authorizing the issuance and delivery of $5,540,000 principal amount of general obligation refunding bonds and providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of an interest on the bonds as they become due.
So this bond series 2021A will be to prepay 3 loans to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to save interest. And I think there's a correction in the principal amount. It's listed as $5,920,000, but I think that either David Arterberry, or I'm sure that Tyler's on here too. If not, oh, there he is. Hi, Tyler. Sorry, had to scan all the squares. There's a change in the amount, correct? One of you.
That's correct. This is Tyler Ellsworth with Q-Tech Rock. Following the results of the bond sale yesterday, and I'll turn things over to Mr. Arterberry in just a moment to report the good news there. But yes, we were able to reduce the size of the borrowing from $5,920,000 to $5,540,000, and I'll let Mr. Arterberry provide the details of the results from yesterday's sale.
David, we always like it when you have good news for us, especially when it's a smaller number. Tell us about what happened with the bond sale yesterday.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Tyler. Yeah, as was mentioned, the city took bids yesterday for $5,540,000 of general obligation bonds, the proceeds of which are paying off the 3 loans. And basically what happened yesterday is at 10:45, we had a Zoom call, and we all, a number of us, besides Tyler, a number of staff members got on a Zoom call and watched the bids be submitted on a parity bidding site. So let me, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you the result of the bidding here. Make sure I have this. Can you see that? Oh, wait, can you see that now?
We can see it now. Thank you so much.
Okay. As you'll see there, the city ended up receiving a total of 6 bids on the bonds. And this is for an issue of this size in this market, that is a really good response. And you can see the listing here ranks the bids in terms of the lowest true interest cost to the highest true interest cost. And the firm offering to buy the bonds at the lowest interest rate was Country Club Bank out of Kansas City. And their bid was submitted with a true interest cost of 2.44461%. That is a wonderful result. We reviewed the bid to make sure that it complied with all the bidding parameters, and it did. We also made sure that the bid was mathematically correct, and it was. So once we did all that, what we then went and did was resize the bond issue. And that's how the principal amount dropped from $5,920,000 down to $5,540,000. Because the way Country Club structured their bid, it generated a premium that was used to then reduce the size of the bond issue. But when all is said and done, let me kind of show you how these results ended up comparing to what we had been previously discussing. You might recognize this spreadsheet. Over on the, this shows on this left-hand side here, the existing loan payments that the city has on these 3 loans. And you'll see down here that the 3 loans had a average interest rate of 2.21% on them. Back in January, when we met with the city, we had estimated that those savings was going to be about $375,000. And when I say those savings, I mean the savings that would be generated by this refinancing. Unfortunately, after January 26, in the middle of February, interest rates spiked up quite a bit. And the savings as a result of that spike up went from an estimate of $375,000 down to about $205,000. You can see down here what that meant is that the interest rate on the new bond issue went from about 1.187% to 1.475. Well, yesterday when we ended up opening bids, the interest rate that we ended up receiving was quite a bit better, fortunately, than it was earlier in March. And the result was the final rate of 1.246%, much closer to our original rate than the last time we talked. And the total savings was $342,394.72. So not quite as good as what we first looked at in January, but a whole lot better savings than we had anticipated even just a few days ago. So real thrilled, obviously, with these results. And I would like to congratulate you guys again on the upgrade and the work that went into to getting that, both from the standpoint of the governing body and also from the standpoint of staff. So obviously welcome any questions you'd have. If you have questions about the particular documents today, I'd let Tyler address those.
It looks like the first item of business is to actually approve the ordinance. But commissioners, do you have questions of Dave or of Tyler regarding the bond sale or about anything regarding the process?
Commissioner Skidmore, I've just got a comment and a question. In spite of Arterbury not wearing green today, you must have been wearing green yesterday because you certainly brought us some luck, Irish luck. I was surprised by that rate myself. So good job on that. My second question is, I know this summer we look at doing some bond financing as well. What are you seeing on rates? Because today I just saw the 10-year Treasury shot up about 5 basis points.
Yeah, obviously it's kind of hard to predict where interest rates will be, this coming summer. I would hope that, we would be, in somewhat similar situation to we are now, but actually that bond issue that's eligible to be refinanced later this year contains interest rates on it, I think, that are closer to 4%, whereas, these loans were only at 2.2%. So I think even if the market does deteriorate, I mean, rates go up a little bit from here, I still think the amount of savings that the city will be able to generate from that upcoming refinance will be pretty significant. And again, to refresh everybody's memory, that bond issue that I'm referring to that we would refinance later this year, because of federal tax code restrictions, we could not refinance that bond issue right now with a new tax exempt bond issue. we have to wait to close that that refinancing sometime after about July 1.
Commissioners, thank you, Commissioner Skidmore. I appreciate you asking that question because I think lots of us are interested, and not that we're not very appreciative of what has happened with these bonds because it's a great savings to our citizens, but we're also excited to reduce the other interest that is on some of the other debt that we have. So I think that's a great point. Commissioners, do you have additional questions for David or for Tyler regarding the ordinance or anything regarding the bond sale from yesterday? If not, I would entertain a motion if there is one to approve the ordinance.
Madam
as
Mayor,
listed. Yes.
this is Commissioner Jorgensen. I move to approve the ordinance as described in item 10 of our agenda.
Commissioner Jorgensen makes a motion to approve the ordinance listed in item 10 on our agenda. Is there a second?
Commissioner Skidmore will second that.
Commissioner Skidmore seconds. I love it when the bankers are eager to make the motions. And I do want to just note, I'm sure that Commissioner Jorgensen, when he listed item 10, he meant item 10 with the amount of $5,540,000, correct? I
Of
just want to
course.
make sure. Okay. So there's been a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as listed in item 10. Is there any discussion among commissioners? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Colley?
Yes.
Commissioner Weigand?
I vote yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
And Mayor Kayler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. Perfect. That moves us on to the second step with the general obligation bonds, and that is the resolution that prescribes the form and the details authorizing the delivery. Sorry, Melissa, I read most of your statement, but go ahead and read number 11 if you'd like.
Resolution prescribing the form and details of and authorizing delivery of $5,540,000 of general obligation refunding bonds.
Mayor Kayler.
Yes,
This
Commissioner,
is
or
Richard
I'm sorry,
Ninestead.
City Manager.
Thank you. This is Richard Ninestead, City Manager. Tyler, would you, before we take action on that, would you please just walk us and the public through again why we have the amount we do? What was the good fortune that got us to where we are today?
Sure, I'd be happy to, and I may punt this to Dave, in fact, to give you sort of some of the background there. But essentially, the way Country Club Bank structured their bid, they paid more for the bonds than the principal amount that we are borrowing. And so we had originally taken bids on a bond issue with a par amount of $5.92 million. And because Country Club offered a premium, we're able to take that premium and reduce the principal amount that we are borrowing to $5,540,000. That's the simple answer. Dave, anything to add to that?
No, I think that's a good synopsis of it. I've kind of compared it in the past when a city gets a premium like this to, it's akin to sort of the complete opposite of paying points on a mortgage. Well, it's when you pay points on a mortgage, you essentially are paying more up front for a lower interest rate. In this case, the investors are purchasing bonds from the city at an above market interest rate, but they're paying a premium to do so. So when you use that premium to reduce the size of the borrowing, you essentially reduce the effective borrowing cost of the city. So it's a smaller bond issue with a little higher coupon rate on it, but the effective borrowing cost is that 1.24%. So it's, I'm sure the bankers, this is one of these things that I think it's a little bit hard to get your mind around, but I'm sure the bankers are probably familiar with premium bond pricing.
Thank you.
So, David, is is it fair in really layman's terms to say that almost is a coupon? I mean, it was a kind of a, it's a amount off the bond, or is that not fair?
It's the terminology is interrelated, but it would be something similar to if you were to go out and buy a treasury bond on the open market. If that treasury bond had a higher interest rate on it, you would pay a premium for that. And so essentially that's what happened is the investors are paying a premium for some of these bonds because they carry a higher interest rate. The city realized the benefit of that by simply borrowing less money.
I so appreciate the fact that you say, you know, if we were to go out and buy a treasury bond, because I was not planning on doing that today, just in case anybody else was wondering, but I'm sure there are other people on this call who are planning on it. So, all right. I'm sorry,
So-
Commissioner Whiteham.
Yeah, Commissioner Wagon, so the premium they pay goes directly to reduce the amount we mortgage. They
Correct.
reduce our debt.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep.
All right, commissioners, do you have questions on the resolution, which is the second step that we take on refunding or on the GO bonds that we have? If not, I will entertain a motion if there is one.
Commissioner Crowley, make the motion to approve item 11.
Commissioner Wagon to second that.
Commissioner Crowley makes the motion. Commissioner Weigand makes the second to approve the resolution, approving the form details and authorizing the delivery of the GO bonds listed in item 11. Any discussion on this agenda item? If there
Commissioner
is none, we
Skidmore,
will. Yes, Commissioner Skidmore, please.
just an added comment to what Dave has been saying here. I think one way or another look at it too is we're borrowing less money and our overall interest charge over all these years, when you take all that into account, that's how our rate got lower. Would that be another way to put it? Okay, all right.
Any other questions? If not, we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Weigand?
I vote yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
And Mayor Kayler?
And I vote yes, motion carries. Great, thank you. Thank you for the hard work on this. And David, I know that you and Tyler have worked well on trying to keep us really up to date on what is going on here. And it's a really moving target right now. So, and we look forward to seeing you again, hopefully this summer.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is item 12 on the agenda.
Recommendation to add 6 residential structures and 1 commercial structure to the neighborhood revitalization program.
The Neighborhood Revitalization Program Review Committee has reviewed and recommends the properties below to adding the properties below to the program. We have a residential new address, which it will be selling this address or this location at 604 South Locust, 739 South Pine, and 508 West 10th. A residential remodel, which will be a rental at 525 South Ash. A residential remodel, which will be selling and opening to the market, 804 South Willow. A residential remodel at 204 East Wilson, and a commercial remodel at 118 North Poplar. I believe we have Charlotte Newkirk, who's going to be addressing this matter with us today. Charlotte, welcome to the meeting.
Okay, got it unmute. Okay, all of these properties meet all the criteria that we have in our regulations, and all of them are really good projects. So I've got even more coming, so you'll be seeing more applications coming in.
That's great news, Charlotte. Thank you. Commissioners, do you have questions for Charlotte?
Mayor Kayler, Commissioner Wagon, do you have the total intended investment on those properties?
No, I don't have that.
They do give us an estimate on each property. and what
What
they're
they
going to
do
invest in.
is they give us an estimated cost of their project to make sure they meet the criteria of what percentage that they have to meet. And then once that's over, a lot of times they spend more than what they're saying. And then it's the new valuation that we go off that the county appraises them at.
Thank you.
Other questions for Charlotte today? All right, if not, I will entertain a motion if there is one to approve these 6 residential structures and 1 commercial structure to the neighborhood revitalization program.
Mayor
Taylor.
Kaler.
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I would make the motion. We approve these for the neighborhood revitalization program.
Commissioner Jorgensen will second.
I wasn't even going to call for a second because I just automatically assumed we had one right away. So Commissioner Weigand makes the motion. Commissioner Jorgensen makes the second. Is there any discussion among commissioners?
And Mayor Kaler,
Yes.
Commissioner Skidmore, I'd recommend on the vote on this that we'd all speak Irish.
Ooh, yeah, well, I would guess that that would mean that City Clerk Reed will be calling your name first so that you will set the example for all of us. Is there any other discussion or any dissent on that idea? All right, then we will proceed to vote.
How do you vote, Commissioner Skidmore?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Aye.
Commissioner
Or
Cowan?
yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Commissioner Weigand?
I'm not going to top this. I'm going to say yes.
And Mayor Kaler?
And I would say I too. I'm excited about it. It sounded a little piratey, but that's all right. We're gonna let it go for the day. Motion carries. That moves us on to reports by our city manager, who we will not require to speak in it with an Irish accent.
I know you were all speaking Irish, but when I heard all those ayes, I thought I was stationed as a guest on a naval carrier. Anyway, okay, thank you. So, happy St. Patrick's Day. So a couple things, a number of us sat in on a meeting by the state of Kansas yesterday concerning the stimulus money. And I know this will surprise you. It was an hour-long meeting, but there is not much guidance yet. They're still waiting for guidance from Treasury. So what they told us was that here's what they think this is going to be and how it's going to be handled. So I suspect that a number of us will be in some more meetings, but here's what I do think. I want you to kind of wrap your head around this until we actually find out just what's going on. I think you are going to have an opportunity to do some things in the community that help people with this money. So I just want to kind of think through that. And as we get more information, we obviously will let you know about and share that with you. So it will come in 2 batches. I think we will expect the first money to hit us in 90 days. And then I believe, Mayor Kaler, correct me if I'm wrong, but it comes within a year after that. And you actually have until 2024 to spend the funds. So I think what we need to do is look for projects that really make an impact upon our community. And the overriding philosophy is those projects have to show that they need to be done because of the effect of COVID-19 in the last year. So another thing, which I'm happy to tell you, is we are going to have, I'm scheduling several interviews next week for finance director from our latest round of applicants. And I would just say it looks promising. So we'll keep you posted on that also. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see you later in the morning.
Thank you, City Manager Neinstead. We appreciate that. Yes, and my understanding is that it is a 2-year cycle in which that we would receive a bulk of the money the beginning of the summer and then again next summer. And it would be split up in 2. And I think that at least preliminary numbers look they look like a very nice sum of money that would help, that's going to help Ottawans. So we're excited about that. That moves us on to reports by city commissioners. I'm going to yield to Commissioner Jorgensen because I want to hear the good stuff that's going on in your Irish world.
Well, as you said earlier, on St. Patrick's Day, everyone's Irish, and but my grandmother's grandmother on my mom's side, of course, was Minerva Kelly, so she was very much Irish. So I think by the time it gets down to my level, I'm like 132nd Irish. So, but it is boiling to the top today. So happy St. Patrick's Day, and even though it's wet, it's a great day. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Absolutely. So glad to have you on here today, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Next on my screen is Commissioner Weigand. Commissioner Weigand, what do you have to tell us today?
I have no report. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Next on my screen is Commissioner Skidmore.
No report, except that our granddaughter was born a year ago today, Greta. And so I'll always remember her birthday. I'm sure she's wearing green today too.
Oh, I hope so. Well, happy birthday to Greta. And Mayor Pro Tem Crowley.
I have no report. Thank you.
Okay. That moves on to report by the mayor. Yes, my maiden name is Kane. When my family came from Ireland, we were O'Kanes, O'' Kane, and they changed our name so that we would seem more American. But I am always excited on St. Patrick's Day and happy to celebrate. And it's once been said, if you're a drop Irish, you're lucky enough. So, and we are lucky enough to be Irish. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. And I look forward to celebrating St. Patrick's Day with our city commissioners at our joint meeting that will be held by Franklin County today at noon. We will also have our study session, which, remember, public and actually everybody on this call, if you're watching this, we are going to attempt to start to transition into in-person meetings. And so we will do that on Monday, where we will meet at the Ottawa Memorial Auditorium. We're asking the public if they have public comment or something that they'd like to be participating by the meeting, that they do so by Zoom. So if you'll let the city clerk know, you can certainly participate. We want you to be part, but we're just trying to transition ourselves slowly into going back into in-person meetings. Commissioners will all be meeting on the stage. Our department heads will be out in the audience. And we are going to make sure that we can try to be as socially distant as we can from each other, but still be in the same space. So we look forward to that kind of experiment that we're going to attempt at 4 o'clock on the 22nd. And then we have a regular meeting on April 7th. Commissioners, or actually anybody on the meeting, are there other things that you would like to address today? If not, we will adjourn the meeting at 10:33 this St. Patrick's Day 2021. Go be Irish.